So I want to talk about the two biggest roadblocks I see chiropractors experience that keep them from growing if you own your own practice. I'm Dr. Dan. I'm a communication and conversion specialist. I get fired up about helping chiropractors use brain-based communication to double and triple their practice. In this video, I'm going to break down the two biggest roadblocks I have seen chiropractors have if they own their own practice to actually growing it to the next level. I've done this for a long time. I've coached and mentored chiropractors. I've built multiple chiropractic practices. I've spoken on pretty much every chiropractic stage. I've seen the gamut of chiropractors. Are oftentimes not just unique to chiropractic, by the way, but we're notorious for them. First and foremost, we go to school and we learn how to work on the body. We learn how to help bodies. Now, when you break down business, one of the things about business is you need to have a unique selling proposition. It drives me crazy, and I know I'm literally going off on a tangent here for a second, but I just need to emphasize, it drives me crazy that chiropractors will resort to doing soft tissue work at the expense of not doing adjustments because they say, I just love soft tissue work. In reality, they're not good at adjustments, and they haven't put the time, the effort in. You know what breaks my heart is that schools that they've gone to are sometimes the reason for this, or a lot of times the reason for this. So I've got a passion for helping chiropractors actually get better at their craft and, more importantly, build the practices of their dreams. But there's big roadblocks. And I want to break that down for you because I just find it ironic. I just can't think of a better word. It's ironic that we would go to school for 3 to 4 years, spend $200,000 to get this education, to work on the body, but then when we get out, we don't know how to go get the bodies to work on because we've lost sight of the fact that in today's age, in our culture, to be able to help more people with chiropractic, it's gotta be in the confines of a business. That's how this works. It's a for-profit industry. If you're in this game of chiropractic and you own your own practice, you must first understand that you have a business. You are a business owner. You must be able to wear the hats of a business owner. And out of the gates, fortunately or unfortunately, it's a lot of hats. You've got to be the marketer. You've got to be the salesperson. You've got to be the owner. You've got to be the account manager. You've got to be the HR department, hiring, firing. And you've got to be the clinician. If that's not a lot of hats, I don't know what is. Because there's not this big conglomerate. In fact, this drives me crazy. When you think about it, somebody could have gone to school as a chiropractor, at the same school, got the same grades, had the same board scores, had the same friends, same environment. One person comes out and makes $500,000 a year within 5 years of being in business. And the other person comes out, again, same circumstances, and makes $50,000 a year at the joint. Am I here throwing the joint under the bus? No, I'm not. I'm saying the reason why that exists is because chiropractors are willing to take that amount of money. That becomes the warm bed that they're able to actually do the craft, but not have to be the business person. So you may be one to say, hey, I don't want anything to do with business. I'm not a business guy. I'm not trying to do business. That's fine. I'm not talking to you in this video. In this video, I'm talking to those of you who own your own business. The roadblock I see is that you don't recognize how it is a business. And when you think about a business, if you study business, which I often do and I love to do, because I like to teach my clients and coach them how to double and triple their practice. Now, this video isn't about the science or the neurology, although I could go there, in that does the benefit of an adjustment in that 2 to 3 minute adjustment equate to the value that you're expecting them to pay or that you're delivering with that and therefore going to receive in revenue. So that's kind of a side note. The bottom line is this first roadblock is that most chiropractors don't recognize that it's a business. And when you study business, you realize that I've got to have margins. I have a cost of doing business. I have lights to pay for and electricity and a building and staff and tables and equipment and resources. That is your loss, right? When you look at profit and loss. If you lose sight of the fact that chiropractic must be delivered in the framework of a business, then you're already planning for failure or you're planning for mediocrity. A business is the framework to which this thing can be delivered. And ultimately, business makes the world go round. When I study history and I study entrepreneurship, I get more fired up than ever about entrepreneurs and being able to create value for people and make the world a better place because of it. I don't know many businesses that can create more value than a chiropractic business. Why? Because you look at the problems around, you look at the solution that you have, and you look at the people that need it. and the value that is there that they'd be willing to pay for it. That's when you start to see, wow, this is a big deal. There's a lot of opportunity here, but the biggest roadblock is you lose sight that it's a business. I remember being in chiropractic school, halfway through, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna own my own business. I'm gonna be an associate, because I had no business savviness. I didn't know how to acquire a new patient, how to convert them and kind of sell them into care, how to ask for money, how to fulfill on that promise, right? How to engage them and delight them enough to where they're gonna stick around and wanna tell others, and ultimately get the results so that I feel good about the service. Like, I didn't know any of that. That's a business, right? Doesn't matter what business you're in. It's acquisition, it's sales and conversions, it's fulfillment, and it's looking at the numbers. That's what it is. And you gotta understand practice management. You gotta understand how to actually do this thing. It's so interesting that I was gonna be an associate, then I'm like, got 3/4 of school, I'm like, no, I can't, I'm not gonna work for somebody. I then had somebody say, you need a coach. Some of the best musicians and artists all have people that mentor them. You need a coach. Why would you be any different? And so I bought into that, hook, line, and sinker. I'm like, yep, that's me. And I'll never forget, I was in Chicago at this event. I'm like, that's it right there. These are my people. And I bought into it. I remember having this conversation with my dad, is that I said, Dad, I'm gonna go spend $323,000 more on top of my $200K loans to go get training and help me to get open in my own clinic. Most people would say that's the worst decision you ever made. In 2.5 years, everything's icing on the cake, and I'm, stacking cash away, helping a lot of people build their practice. Now was a good idea, right? I just knew that I had to invest in me. So the first, again, roadblock is that you don't see business as a necessity, and you're not getting the mentorship, the coaching, and the guidance to actually do it well. So roadblock number 2 for chiropractors who own their own business and are staying stuck is that they don't have the communication expertise and strategies to pull off what they had a vision for in chiropractic college. I will say this, your income and impact is in direct correlation with your ability to communicate. Like it or hate it or anything in between, that is a fact. Look at Steve Jobs. When you read his work, he says you can have the greatest product of all time, but if you don't have a way to get people excited about it and to communicate using the power of story, then you're dead in the water. I'm telling you right now, your impact and income, the next level of your growth will exist around your ability to communicate. This is why I have spent so much time. If you've known me in the past or you've followed any of the work I've done, I've spoken on a lot of stages, created a lot of programs, products, posters, brain lamps, you name it, to help chiropractors get confidence and certainty in their communication. But I'm gonna tell you, I've made a big pivot. What I do now is help chiropractors double and triple their practices through the power of communication. And particularly as it relates to the foundation of story, because there's nothing that influences the decision-making brain like a story. And so when you take this level of conviction, which I teach, and then you combine with the right questions at the right time and ultimately telling stories that sell when facts just tell, now you've got this entire foundation that will drive revenue, that will drive impact, and will drive your next level of growth. This is what I love to do. And I'm telling you, it has never been a better time to be a chiropractor. The opportunity is immense, but you have to overcome these 2 big roadblocks. Number 1 is, it's business. And it doesn't have to be complicated, but you do have to have that frame of reference, knowing that if it's in the confines of business, there are to-dos and to-don'ts. And number 2 is you've got to be a communication ninja. It doesn't matter where you come from. You may be a shy introvert with no entrepreneurial background like me, but I'm gonna tell you, when you get a few of these things right, you can become the chiropractor that sounds like a veteran, even if you're in your first year in business. I'm not gonna stop. More videos from me. I get fired up about helping you double and triple your practice and having people pay cash for care plans, follow through, stay, pay, refer, and change. And there's no reason why you can't do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And I truly mean that. So overcome those 2 roadblocks. More from me. Subscribe below. Dr. Dan, I'm out.